Should start there in a minute. Hello, everybody. I decided to lighten up the load a little bit. We've been doing some pretty serious videos. So I got y'all a video here. All right, here we go, y'all. And they had a little old baby down there that had done been eating chili. And you would think at the chicken sale, with all the poop and animals and all that this baby would beat everything all put together. It was worse than the hog pen. It was going to get me a lottery ticket. And while I was in there, I remember the night was date night for me and Tammy. So I got me a pack of Red Rooster pills while I was in there. And I was up there at the counter. And, he was ringing me up. I said, I don't really need these right here. He said, right. And I was over there, I said, okay. And I went over there, and I was standing to the side, scratching my lottery ticket off. And there's another man coming there. He bought some Red Rooster pills, too. You know what he told the man at the cash register? He said, I don't really need these. But I just buy them just anyway. But that ain't what this story's about. I went on down to the sale. Hey y'all, these is real back country folks. When down there at the sale, these people they go to the sale. That's what everybody in that town does on Saturday, is go to the sale. I pulled in the parking lot. Everybody in the parking lot had trucks. Man, I forgot to say, Stephen was with me too. I got out. I had my cowboy hat on. I actually put some pants on, didn't wear pajamas this time. And I had my boots on. And me and Stephen, we kind of walked around a few minutes together. And then we separated. I didn't see him no more for a while. Man, they was cooking hamburgers and French fries. That place was smelling so good. And it did look like the fairground. Everybody. Hey, women, grandma, grandpa, everybody goes to that sale on Saturday. This man approached me. Said, you want to buy this 50-50 lottery ticket? I said, yeah, give me one. He said, most people get 20. I said, well, give me 20. Oh, I walked on off nice looking around because I always check everything out. I seen a man over there. Well, it's a bunch of men. And I seen them looking at this goat. And they all had jars in their hand. Looked like they had water in it. They had ice in there too. So this man walked up to me. He said, have you seen the goat? I said, yeah, that goat over there? He said, yeah. He said, come on, you got to see this. I said, I'm just walking around looking anyway, So I go over there, and this goat they had, about 10 men standing around looking at this goat. He had the biggest gonads you ever seen in your life. All the men were standing around there laughing and looking and, drinking them jars of, looked like water. The little old guy standing there, I found out his name was Larry. He said, you want to see the female? The female goat? I said, yeah, we'll go over there and look. Well, I walked over there and they had this old nanny goat. You ever seen a goat that looked like they need a bra? And she was the mate of this goat with the big gonads. I said, he said, you ever seen one that big? I said, I don't believe I ever seen one that big in my life. What they was doing with these two goats is they had them for hire, you know. You could rent them. Y'all, I am live right now. Me and Jamie sitting here. Hey, just chat the way you usually do. I'm going to be making videos like this, y'all. I'm going to be making some videos like this. All right, here we go. And, do what they do, to make little baby goats. I had to stand there looking at the goat about 45 minutes. I walked on off and I seen this prettiest blonde you ever seen walking around. She had the bleached blonde hair. She had the halter top on. She had the little Daisy Duke short pants on. And she had pink flip-flops on. And I knew I couldn't hardly take my eye off of her walking around. Looked like to me she could cut glass. So I seen they had this building in the back. Now they had a little fence out in front of it where you couldn't see, the sides very good. But I kept hearing commotion going on over there. They would blow a whistle, and I done heard that whistle at least 3 or 4 times while I was around there looking at the female goat. And I said, what are they doing there? So I was curious to what they was doing. I could tell there was a bunch of men around there. And I walked around, around the whole building. Like I say, I was just looking anyway. And this Larry walked up to me. The one that showed me the goats. He said, would you milk a goat for $50? I'm the macho man and everything. And I figured like I could pay for my gas and my food and everything. Milk the goat. That all you got to do is just milk the goat for 10 minutes. I said, all right. Count me in. So he said, when I blow this whistle, you come around to the side door. And said, you see that side over there? You come around to that side. I said, okay. You know how smart I am. I went on around there and looked to see what they was doing. And they had this bunch of men was standing there on the side of the building, and it looked like it was a two-way mirror. And they was all having their drinks and stuff, and they was laughing and carrying on. And they was watching the man in there trying to milk the goat. They was making bets and stuff, and everything like that and laughing. And I'm telling you, they was having a party over there, looking in that two-way mirror at the man trying to milk the goat. So, and you know how smart I am. Like, when I walked up there to look in, I said, no, it costs $10 to watch this. Oh, I'm going to milk the goat. So what's $10, So I paid the $10 and stood right there to the glass and was looking with all the other men. And what they had was it wasn't no nanny goat. It was a male goat. And it was a mean male goat. I do believe that's about the meanest goat I ever seen. He would bite you. He would kick you. He would buck you. He would try to pee on you. And what they was doing was they was rounding these city slickers up that ain't never been down there. See, that was part of the fun, is they would, when they would have new people in there, they would, tell them what they told me, come over here and milk the goat for $50. Well, I stood around there and watched about 30 minutes. It was about 3 people that was trying to milk the goat. And I'm sitting there thinking like, oh no, I'm way too smart for that, And I walked off, and Larry was blowing the whistle. He'd wait about 30 seconds and he'd blow the whistle again. I said, I don't think I want to milk the goat. Well, it was about time for the chicken sale to start. And they stood up, and this girl with the halter top and the blonde hair, she sung the national anthem. I mean, this is a big thing down in Swainsboro, Georgia. You won't believe how big this is. Like everybody goes, I'm telling you, from 50 miles away, everybody goes. No, they got these benches, you sit on. I was sitting there, and then this girl with the halter top, she actually worked for the auction. And she was down there trying to round everything up and everything, and I was like watching her. Yeah, I was watching her. Hey, now I said I was watching her. I wasn't watching her that close. I was just watching her a little bit. And like I say, all these people come. The grandpas, the youngins. I'm telling you, everybody comes. And boy, I seen a bunch of men get up, and like a bunch of men and women got off the bench and moved. And I said, what are they? Oh man, what the hell is that I smell? And then, the auctioneer was standing down there. He said the same thing. What is that smell? And they had a little old baby down there that had done been eating chili. And you would think at the chicken sale, with all the poop and animals and all that this baby would beat everything all put together. It was worse than the hog pen. I was looking over there at the hogs when it hit them. The hogs raised their head up and said, what the hell was that smell? All the women was, sitting down on the bench, and they was all giving me the smirk because I was complaining. There was a little bit of a problem there, y'all. Like everybody was calling me city slicker and all that stuff. And I noticed everybody had a Donald Trump hat on. And, the men all had tobacco. Some of the women had snuff in their mouth. I'm talking about like, Santa Claus had done come to town in Swainsboro. Like they was having the biggest time you ever seen in your life. They was shelling peas while the auction was going on. I knew as many of them hats as I seen. I knew somebody had to be selling them. I said, hey Larry, where everybody getting all these hats from? He said, at the concession stand. I figure I'll walk over there, go to the concession stand. Youngins everywhere. Like really, it's unbelievable. You have to go down there one time to see it. And they was two little young ones down there skipping rope. I heard the daddy say, try to trip him up. Well, while I was walking to the bathroom, they tried to trip me up. So I started jumping rope. 240 pounds, I started jumping rope. You know, I mean, they really don't like you very much down there. They can tell you don't belong down there, you know. Oh, you know, they'd say, hey, girl, city boy, are you from around here? I said, yeah. And you don't look like you from around here. Oh, I remembered about 50 years ago, I went with a man down to Adgerine Hutcheson's house. And he didn't live very far down the road. And when I was at Algerine's, he had put a battery in his truck. And man, he was about like as country as you can get, you know. You know, like, I don't even know if I can talk like he was talking. I ain't joking. And I walked out here when he was putting a battery in his truck. And he put the battery cables on, then he took some nails. Instead of getting a wrench and tightening up the nuts, he just drove some nails around into battery posts. And I mean, that was good enough for them. And we walked out here at the barn, and he had this barn, and he had this big old round silver tank. And it had crust on the top of it. And in the hair in the bathtub, when you got soap suds in there, you're trying to clear a spot out, and ain't got no soap suds on it. To wipe your eyes with. Hey man, he moved that crust, that 8-inch tall crust, off the top of that thing and dipped a cup down in there and started drinking it. I don't know exactly I don't know if it was beer or wine. I don't know which one it was. But I mean, man, he acted like it was delicious. Okay, so y'all know Algerine. So back at the sale, I started telling everybody Algerine was my uncle. Oh, I went on in the concession stand. There was the hats for sale. And they had some spit cans down there at the counter. You know, like when you walk up there, they have some spit cans. So if you needed to spit, you can spit in a can. They had some beech nut chewing tobacco. I said, give me one of them hats and some of this tobacco right here. Now, don't get me wrong now. They had like multiple sales in that building going on at the same time. If you listen hard, you could hear the other auctioneer. But they had multiple sales going on. And Stephen was at the other sale. And he walked around there to check on me like he usually does. He said, I seen you down there skipping rope. But anyway, we wasn't hanging around together. I don't know why we sometimes do that, but he always keeps an eye on me. Because there's no telling what I liable to do, you know. And I went down there, and I sat down on the bench, to watch the auction. And there's Halter Top Girl down there. Every once in a while, I'd hear him blow that whistle. And I'm sitting there and watching Halter Top Girl. And them red rooster pills is starting to kick in. The women that was there, sitting on the bench, all in front of them and stuff. I said, they would turn around and smirk at me. I said I wasn't looking at her. I swear I'm not looking at her. And they do that like kind of mean grin. It's kind of mean, half smile, half grin. And I'm sitting there watching Halter Top Girl. Man, she's bouncing all over the place. Sometimes they go forward, sometimes they go side to side. Sometimes they like could do it, work independently. And I'm like watching that, and my red rooster pill starts kicking in. You know, I'm sitting there talking about, man, I don't know what's coming over me. I got to quit looking at her. And I had to miss 2 or 3 items that I wanted to buy, you know. So, you know, then it become time, you know, to do the 50-50 drawing, you know. And Larry was the one drawing the names out of the bucket. And they was calling out my number, calling out my name and everything. And I was like just kind of trying to sit there, you know. Larry said, there he is, sitting right there. They said, come on down here, Danny, and get your prize, you know. I said, well, I'll get it in a minute. My leg's hurting right this second. The women down in front turned around and looked at me. Said, he's been looking at Halter Top Girl. So, I said, I'll be there in a minute. And I'm like trying to think about baseball, and I'm trying to think about the baby that ate the chili. Nothing ain't working, boy. Them red rooster pills don't never get none. They all had a big old laugh at me. They all understood I was looking at Halter Top Girl down there, and about 20 minutes later, I said, hey, yeah, I'm ready to come in there and get my 50-50 money. And I walked on down there and get it, and all the women was laughing at me and stuff. You know, I'd hear the whistle blow, and I mean, man, it's going on at that place like Donkey Kong, man. I mean, man, I ain't joking. I mean, they got it going on down there. And it don't cost nothing to go, see. Actually, the auction was about halfway over. That auction it starts in the morning, it goes all day long. And Halter Top Girl, she caught me looking at her about 25 times. She come up there and sat down beside of me. We started talking a little bit and watching the chicken sale and all that, you know. I said, you know what? I think I want to go get me a hamburger. I said, you want a hamburger? I said, I'll buy you one. I said, or a hot dog, whatever you want. I said, I'll buy. She said, yeah, I'll take one. I said, all right, I'll be back in a minute. So I walked all the way around the building and come in the other door, the side door, where I didn't have to go through that maze of jumping rope and all them people and everything. So I went back to the snack bar. They had a porta potty down there on one end. And I was standing there waiting to get waited on. And this woman, come walking out the porta potty. And I was like talking about, don't come up here, don't. She walked right up straight to me and said, can I help you? I said, I'm trying to decide, what I want. She's saying, it's real simple, mister. Either this or that, And so, I was sitting there stalling, because there's another woman there that's waiting on people and stuff. And then I raised my hand up, and here comes this woman back. Now, I know this woman went in there and didn't wash her hands. Oh, she said, you ready to order? I said, yeah, give me one cheeseburger and 4 bags of them potato chips. Oh, I got us 2 drinks and 4 bags of potato chips. Cheeseburger and went back, and I gave Halter Top girl the hamburger, and I just ate the potato chips. We was sitting there, I was doing pretty good with Halter Top girl, and we was talking and stuff, and she said, I'm single. And we chit-chatted and talked there for a few minutes. I said, I like that Halter Top. And she turned around and looked at me. She had the biggest, longest tooth right in the front of her mouth you ever seen in your life. So she was eating that cheeseburger I bought her. She was smiling. You could see the cheeseburger in her mouth. Looked like that jackass on the hee-haw. And she was eating a hamburger and everything. And, I started trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, while I'm sitting there thinking, I seen this man and woman about break out in a fight. His name was Tiny. He weighed about 450 pounds. Boy, the woman was getting all over him, boy. And he was sitting there trying to say nothing. Tiny done had enough of that. He said, I was over there looking at the goat with the big coneheads. Have you been drinking again? No, I hadn't been drinking. All I was doing was looking at the goat with the big coneheads. Everywhere you go in these small towns, there's always somebody that's about 400 pounds, and their name's going to be Tiny. And they're going to have overalls on, too. And these people them been slipping that white lightning all day. Their fight broke out. I went over to see what the fight was about, and it was one of Tammy's kinfolks. I ain't going to say what her name was, but they was actually fighting over some chicken legs. That day, she whooped 4 men and 1 bulldog. I said, this is going to be kind of embarrassing to the family. She gave me that look, and it scared me so bad it made me jump. All right, but anyway, I hear the whistle blow. I seen Stephen come walking through there. I called for Stephen to come over there, and I done him like he done me when we was at the scene. I give you $100 if you'll go get in the car and let's just leave right now. I said, Stephen, I'll give you $100 if you tell me we gotta go. He said, man, there's some goats and stuff I want to look at. I said, I give you $100 if you tell me we can go. That we gotta go right now. He said, all right, just a minute. Halter Top girl done started holding her arm around my arm. And I'm trying to figure out, I don't know why Stephen was gone for 2 hours, but I looked at my watch. He wasn't actually gone but about 5 minutes. So I seen the crowd, start moving again. You know what it was? Another baby doesn't. Okay. So you know what happened? Another baby doesn't do it. I can't take it. I couldn't take it no more. The auctioneer stopped the auction. Who's got the Dukian baby? I'm talking about stank. Paint was peeling off the walls. The HODGES then started looking up again. Oh, I was standing there telling Halter Top girl, that I had to go, to tell Stephen, he could pick me up walking. And I said, I really wasn't looking at your nip. I mean, uh, I really wasn't looking at you. I was looking at the person that was behind you. Uh, she said, that's what you was doing? I said, yeah, I was looking at somebody behind you there. I actually went around there and started waiting at the truck for Stephen. And, we got out there. But, like, I heard the whistle blowing again. And if you're ever around Swainsboro on Saturday, you can ask anybody in that town, where's the auction? Where's the auction at? And it's easy to find. You look for the line of cars because everybody in that town goes to the auction. All right, y'all? All right. Bye-bye. So, y'all, that was the trip to the chicken and goat sale in Swainsboro. Me and Tammy's been sitting right here watching with y'all. So I'll be doing some videos like this once in a while, y'all. Don't freak out if you watching the video. Your friends are still here just like as if I was sitting here talking. And I did put an edited video of one of the videos I done on Southern Ideas on Stephen's channel. It's edited down from about an hour and a half to about 45 minutes. And it's bad being in the YouTube world. Like making videos, and the bigger you get, the crazier everything gets. But I just soon put all that stuff to rest. If everybody straightens up, if they don't straighten up, I'm going to get them. I appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all later. Hey, you know what I mean? I hope y'all liked this video. I hope y'all understood what I was doing. I wasn't so sure that y'all even know what I was doing. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.